1 Kings chapter 6. It happened in the 480th year after the Israelites had departed from Egypt, during the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month of Ziph, which is the 2nd month. It was at this time that he commenced the construction of the temple of the Lord. The dimensions of the house that King Solomon built for the Lord were as follows. Its length was 60 cubits, its width was 20 cubits, and its height was 30 cubits. There was a porch in front of the temple, which measured 20 cubits in length, corresponding to the width of the house, and its width was 10 cubits. The windows for the house were narrow and latticed. Solomon built chambers against the walls of the house, encircling both the temple and the inner sanctuary. He constructed these chambers in multiple stories. The lowest chamber was 5 cubits wide, the middle one was 6 cubits wide, and the third one was 7 cubits wide. The reason for the variation in width was due to projecting ledges in the wall of the house, so that the beams would not be inserted into the walls of the house. During the construction of the house, prepared stones were used, so that no hammer, axe, or iron tool was heard within the house while it was being built. Access to the middle chamber was provided through a door on the right side of the house. Staircases wound their way up to the middle chamber, and from there to the third chamber. Solomon successfully completed the construction of the house, covering it with cedar beams and planks. He also erected additional chambers against the entire house, each 5 cubits in height, which were supported by cedar beams. The word of the Lord came to Solomon, stating, "If you follow my statutes, execute my judgments, and obey all my commandments, I will uphold the promise I made to your father David. I will reside among the Israelites and not forsake them." Consequently, Solomon finished the construction of the house. He adorned the interior walls of the house with cedar boards, including the floors and the ceilings, covering them with wood. He used cedar boards to extend 20 cubits from the sides of the house. Within the house, particularly within the inner sanctuary, the Holy of Holies, was 40 cubits in length. The entire interior of the house was decorated with carved cedar, featuring ornamental knobs and open blossoms. The entire structure was fashioned from cedar, no stone was visible. For the inner sanctuary, Solomon prepared an area to house the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. The inner sanctuary was 20 cubits in length, breadth, and height. He overlaid it with pure gold and covered the altar, which was made of cedar, with gold as well. Solomon overlaid the interior of the house with pure gold, and he crafted a partition using gold chains in front of the inner sanctuary, which he also covered with gold. The entire house was covered with gold until it was fully completed. Even the altar in the inner sanctuary was overlaid with gold. Inside the inner sanctuary, he placed 2 olive-wood cherubim, each 10 cubits high. Each cherub had a wingspan of 5 cubits, and the wings of one cherub touched the wall, while the wings of the other cherub touched the opposite wall. Their wings met in the middle of the house. Both cherubim were overlaid with gold. Solomon adorned the walls of the house all around with carved figures of cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, both inside and outside. The floor of the house was also overlaid with gold inside and out. To enter the inner sanctuary, Solomon made doors of olive wood. The lintel and side posts constituted a 5th part of the wall. The doors themselves were made of olive wood and featured carved cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, all of which were overlaid with gold. Likewise, the doorposts of the temple were made of olive wood, comprising 1/4 of the wall's width. The 2 doors of the sanctuary were crafted from fir wood, and they were folding doors. Both doors had carved cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, all of which were covered with gold that was applied to the carved work. The inner courtyard was constructed with 3 courses of hewn stone and a course of cedar beams. The foundation of the house of the Lord was laid in the month of Ziph during the 4th year. And in the 11th year, during the month of Bul, which is the 8th month, the entire house was completed in all its details and according to its design. Thus Solomon spent 7 years building it.